This is Chiming In with Elise and David. I want you to imagine something for me.
Okay.
You are in your kitchen.
Yep.
And someone calls you on the phone.
Nope.
What do you mean? What do you mean, nope?
My imagination doesn't work in that way.
That's because you never answer your phone.
Correct.
All right. Well, let's just suspend disbelief here for a moment and pretend that you actually answer your phone for an unknown number.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So
Hello?
You get hello. Is this Elise Cardin?
Maybe. Okay, sure. Yes.
Well, I can't. You do not hang up the phone. But I have a very important situation, and that is you have missed jury duty.
Jury duty? Don't
Yes.
they normally send you letters for that?
We did, and I'm going to send you a text right now to show you the paperwork that shows that you missed jury duty.
Okay.
And there is a warrant for your arrest.
Oh, damn. Okay. And so then what happens?
So I need for you to send me money so that
Money?
you are not arrested. Yes.
Who are
money.
you?
I am the U.S. Marshal Service
Oh.
that's in charge of this type of thing.
Okay.
And you can't hang up the phone.
Okay.
And I don't want you to talk to anybody else. You need to just handle this right away. And
Why can't I hang up the phone?
That's the instructions. Can't talk to anybody. Can't ask anybody any questions. You just need to take care of this right now or we're going to arrest you. Okay, so how do you feel about that scenario?
Not great. My brain would probably be racking, is that the right word? I'm racking my brain.
You're racking your brain? Yeah, that's the way to say it.
Okay. And it's been a long day. So I'm trying to figure out how I could have missed, because I'm very good at not missing stuff, how I could have missed something so important. But then again, I could see it because, we don't always get our mail on time and all the things. So anything is possible. And now what?
So this has happened to at least 2 people that I know in the last couple of weeks where this exact scenario has happened. And in both scenarios, both people who were called were moments away from taking money out of their accounts and giving it to a perfect stranger over the phone
Because
to
they
avoid being
represented
arrested.
themselves as an official.
Yes.
And something to do with like a government proceeding.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them were about jury duty?
Both about jury duty. And in both cases, the person said that they were from the government and they needed to send money. And in one case, I think it was $5,000. Another case, it was $8,000 to $9,000 that they needed to go to the bank.
What?
And immediately transfer the money to them.
So if you miss jury duty, is it like a felony or something? What are they talking about?
Missing jury duty, if you were notified properly, if you were served with the papers, is something that you would get something in the mail to say you missed jury duty, you need to come.
Is there a fine?
You'd have to go before the judge, and then the judge would decide what to do. But you would never, ever get a call from someone about this, and you certainly would never have to pay thousands of dollars to avoid being arrested.
Yeah, I don't think I would buy that. I think that...
Well, what if the person said, don't hang up the phone, and hold on, I'm going to put you on with my supervisor, and they transferred you to another person who then talked to you, and they also sent you to your text a photograph of a summons for an arrest warrant that looked very official, that talked about missing jury duty.
I'd probably call my lawyer.
Well, that would be very smart.
Yeah, that's really scary. So multiple people have been so uncomfortable and scared that they thought they had to go pay this person right then?
Exactly.
In order to what? Not be arrested?
I think that was the kind of the information was, you need to give us this money or we're going to arrest you.
Wow, this is a really important public service announcement.
Yes, and there are other scams as well that I've heard of as well that involve giving money for something that you don't need to give money for, including bailing somebody out of jail, things like that. It's people are getting scammed all over the place for this. So my recommendation when this type of thing happens is to think for a moment, because I know when you're in that mindset of getting this call, you're probably scared and worried and not able to think. But think for a moment of what is actually happening and whether or not
Do you think people
should talk to somebody else to ask a question.
Do you think people just believe that if someone official has your number and is showing you a document, that is enough somehow? And I guess in the old days, that would be probably enough to make it seem like people didn't use this sort of thing as a scam before, I guess, or at least that we didn't know about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the past, but I know that probably technology is accelerating the problem.
You know, that reminds me, I actually keep seeing scam alerts on every single literary agent's page. Every single one, or like the agency has across like a neon bar across every single website that says there are people impersonating us, and they have all sorts of ways to make sure that you're certain that you're speaking to or emailing the right person, or that you receive. I bet they're getting something like that too. Like, oh, we're interested, send money maybe.
So
I don't understand why it's so
you're in
important.
a situation where somebody's desperate for something, so if you're trying to get a literary agent, if you're a writer, you're going to be really excited when somebody gets in touch with you. So of course you're going to jump in and give money. Yeah,
this is scary.
It really is. The other thing that people are doing is they're sending emails that look like legitimate emails from your bank.
Yes, I've gotten a bunch of stuff like that.
So the rule there is never, ever click those emails, even if it looks legit, if it's from PayPal or your bank or whatever. Just contact.
They're getting really good at looking real too.
They look exactly. They're spoofing. And so then what happens is they want you to go onto your account. So then you put in your information and they have your password, and you've done it all within their server. So
in those cases with emails of any kind, I'll go up to the person who sent it, who it looks like it's from, Southern Bank or something, and you click on it, and then it's got a bunch of other letters and words on it. So I always know it's a scam. However, I think that even at a quick glance, they're getting emails that look almost like the name enough that they're getting smart about that too.
They are.
And so I always think if I get something like that and I even think for a minute that it's real, I'm going to call the bank. That's your advice?
That's exactly right. Yeah, you want to call directly to the source, because then you're calling them.
Sure.
And they're probably going to tell you, no, we haven't sent you anything like that, so please ignore. It's a scam.
So they're really tapping into the fear, I guess, and like that knee-jerk reaction to just like quick, handle this immediately. This has to.
In the case of the bond situation that I started with, in both those cases, they did not want the person hanging up the phone. They wanted to, if they were in a car, they were like, "What's your mileage?" I want you to drive directly to
What do
get
you
the
mean, what's
money.
your mileage?
Like they're just asking questions to try to get the person off balance and not thinking. So they're like, what is your mileage on your car right now? Like, I need to see how far you're driving to go get the money.
What?
Yes, it's crazy. They're literally like asking questions about where they are, what's the mileage on their car, where are they going to go to get the money, and all this stuff. Probably to
like
add
as if they're
legitimacy to
already
it.
under surveillance of some sort.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'll tell you that at least one of the people that this happened to is somebody I know very well, and is actually a very smart, savvy person who you would not think would fall for a scam like this. And I think it just goes to show you how powerful it is when someone out of the blue calls who sounds like they're legitimately a law enforcement officer, and you just don't know what to do, Would
it be appropriate for someone to, I guess I'm concerned because a law enforcement officer or person is presenting themselves, like, there's a chance that's legit, like, in theory.
There's no chance that a law enforcement officer is going to call you and ask you to give them money. That is a scam.
Right, no, I get that
right from
part.
the beginning.
But just the rest of it sounds
I mean,
like it's a
if a
possibility.
law enforcement officer calls you and wants to ask you questions about a situation that you were in before, that could be legitimate. That does happen. As a lawyer, that I see that happen all the time. In that situation, I would tell the person, do not speak with the detectives. You don't have to speak with the detectives. And there's really no reason for you to speak to anybody on the phone about anything regarding this type of stuff. It's just unnecessary and not a great idea. I would hang up and talk to my lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for this PSA. Jeez.
Well,
I guess if you had it happen so many times in a row, it's like concerning.
Yeah, I mean, this is happening all the time, and it's happening in all different areas, not just law enforcement, but like we've already talked about, emails for banks, and they are trying to get your money any way they can, and they're using the power of persuasion to do that, trying to persuade you that they're someone they're not, or that they're even doing things now, if you can imagine, using AI. They are cloning people's voices and then using that person's voice to call a loved one and make up a whole conversation about needing to stay. They're in trouble and they need money, and it's not even them, it's a computer.
I'm going to give the best advice of this entire chat. Don't answer your phone. Mic drop.
See, this would never happen to you.
I'm so safe. I'm a little weird. So I think about the Wizard of Oz a lot. And there's so much metaphor in that story. And of course, the big one is that the wizard is not who he appears to be. And this sort of is reminding me of that a little bit, that people are so sure that, what they think is true, that they don't always see the signs that it may not be. And in this case, it just reminds me of that, like, because it's, especially in this case, because it seems to be somebody official, or we just believe that it is. And it's like I started to say earlier, sort of just that fear impulse that's like, oh, okay, I'm going to, do whatever I'm told. And, at some point, if you're lucky, the curtain is pulled back and you're like, oh, you're not at all who you say you are. In fact, you have no power over me, But I think it's tricky when it's someone, maybe like a boss or something like that, someone, the head of a school or something. When there's people in an authority position, which is why I think that scam specifically is tricky, what you just described.
Right.
But when there's somebody in that position that's your higher up, we often just assume that they know better and that they have power over everything. And, I think the point of this, that what popped into my head just now, was that we still have to think for ourselves, and we have to think clearly, not just because someone told us something. It's not always accurate. And we have that, we don't want to give our power away so quickly. In those cases, that fear just sort of took over.
This makes me really sad that this is happening in our society, where we have to think about every single contact we have, every email that comes in, every phone call that maybe somebody's trying to get one over on us. It really is kind of forcing us to be scared all the time with these types of communications. And I worry about our kids who don't know really better. And when they get a call like that, they're going to be scared and worried and not know what to do, because they just haven't been around the block enough to know that this could be. I mean, look,
You just described full-on savvy adults.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's really, really scary.
So we have to continue to flex the muscle of discernment and understanding, even though it may not seem like you have a place to, stand up for yourself or whatever. We have to teach that to them.
We do, and we have to tell them every time we hear of a story like this where these scams are happening, they need to be aware of it. They need to be mindful.
Yeah, and I think the Wizard of Oz is popping back in my head again, because it's like the entire story is teaching that concept that we already possess the knowledge and the tools and the information. But like, I feel like if someone just understood that there were people out there that weren't who they say they are, that's the teaching. And so we do need to be mindful, but not fearful, because I really don't want people or our family to walk around and live in a fear of any of this, but just to be smart and to know that it exists. That's the difference, is like our friend or whoever you just described who had this jury duty situation, they probably didn't even know that was even possible.
Right.
But thanks to you in this episode, we now have thousands of people who will know that even this is possible. So, when I'm looking and shopping online, if I don't know the website, I always try to look up the words, is blah, blah, blah website legit? I'll put that in. And it is pretty good at telling me yes or no. So it's either like there's Trustpilot, there's all these things that pop up to show me yes, customers say this, or no, this is lots of problems with this website. And the times that I don't, I have sometimes lost some money.
So years ago, we had purchased a printer, and I was having a problem with it. And I was looking for Hewlett Packard or whatever the brand was online to ask customer service a question. So I look online, and there's a website that says Hewlett Packard, and I click on it, and I get a phone number, and I call it, and I talk to this guy for about 45 minutes on the phone. And at the end, he's asking me to pay some sort of a fee to do something with the printer to make it work properly. And I'm like, wait a second, who am I speaking? Is this Hewlett Packard? And I realized this company had put Hewlett Packard in the actual URL. So I thought it was Hewlett Packard. It wasn't. It was some other company.
Exactly.
So you have to watch what you're doing every single minute, or you could be sucked into.
I've had it happen many times. I remember a million years ago, I bought a pair of like UGG boots, but like when they were barely getting popular, and the website looked like UGG, everything about it, except it didn't say like of Australia or something, whatever. It wasn't their exact logo, but I wouldn't have known. And I only knew because I got the pair of shoes and the boots, and they had this like very strong, like chemical smell, like dyed, like it was dyed a, cool charcoal gray color. And I couldn't even stand it. And I'm like, this feels very wrong that I knew what an UGG boot looked like. So and come to find out that it wasn't actually the real UGG store. So yeah, sometimes those first few things on Google are not legit. Yeah, it's crazy. So mindful.
Be mindful, and also just be aware that this is that you just have to have the ability to even imagine that somebody could do this. It's just it's really scary. But
I was just talking to some friends about my memoir, which takes place in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, and we were just all marveling about how back in the day we didn't have, of course, cell phones or anything, but how my little sister and I went down the street when she was like probably 4.5 years old, and I being 4 years older, so we just went down the street to like a pool party, and no parents really were watching, and they were all around, the grills and having a beer or whatever. And my story is of my little sister, like going in the pool with me and running down this, different lawns to get to this other person's house and stuff. And like, this would not really happen these days.
Absolutely not.
For a plethora of reasons, but yeah, times have definitely changed. And this is, there's so many pros and cons, obviously, to our digital age that we're living in. But this is something to just be aware of, and don't let anyone tell you need to do anything.
Yeah. Speaking of digital age, did you hear that England or European Union just passed a law that said kids under the age of 16 cannot use social media at all? It's a law.
Wow. I did not hear that, of course.
Yes. So no Instagram, no Facebook, no Snapchat.
How are they monitoring that? What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know the details of it. I just know that I heard it on the news today that they've banned it. They're allowing them to have some sort of messaging app, but it's not all
like
the
texting.
Yes, so they can communicate that way, but otherwise
Oh
no
my
social
God.
media.
No TikTok.
No TikTok. I think we should do that here. Well, I'd love to hear from our listeners if anybody has encountered any scams or anything like that. If you would like to write us, we are at chimingin911@gmail.com.
And we are going to take a break for a couple of weeks this summer. And this has been an amazing, 6-7 months? Mm-hmm. 6-7? Just kidding.
7.
I think it's been about 7 months or so since we decided to start this whole podcast. And we have been obviously going strong. I have heard many people say to me that they have so many episodes to catch up on, which is interesting. And while that is one way to people do things, another is we have people who are weekly and cannot wait to hear, thank you very much, what we have to say, even when we don't know what that is. But I think that, summer's a little crazy. So we are going to put a pause and gather our strength.
That's right. So this will be the end of season 1 of Chiming In.
That sounds so weird and official. Mm-hmm. Well, does that mean we have to do a new intro next time? I don't think I can.
You want to do a new intro?
No.
Involving laughter?
I can do you. This is Chiming In with Elise and David.
Oh my God, you sounded just like me.